is a story about failure. Lots of it. Because when it comes to science, just like almost everything in life, we pretty much have to fail our way towards success. To do this, sometimes we need someone else to make an entirely unreasonable request of us, to force us into doing what might seem uncomfortable, inconvenient, or even downright impossible. Which is exactly why a student agreed to a challenge from a mountain climbing amputee to come help a disabled spiritual leader on the other side of the world.
Ever since we came to Ecuador, first time 2 years ago, so since August 2014, I've been just planning to come back with something big.
All done?
I lead the team of all these engineers and biologists and clinicians working together to build these prosthetic hands for people who need them.
It's a long day, right?
It's a very long day, yeah.
Over the next 2 weeks, we want to test the hand on various patients, get their feedback, and send them out with a device so that the tests are no longer confined within the walls of a clinic.
Sometimes things just happen to line up. And I mean, if we didn't do this now, this might have been delayed for a couple of years.
The pressure's on, and I've seen what that kind of pressure can do to the right people, the right kind of people.
I'm here in Ecuador to put this hand on patient number 1. And my ultimate goal is that I can leave Ecuador to go home and the hand stays here with him.
This is Adil Akhtar. He's a neuroscience PhD candidate and aspiring MC, and he's out to disrupt the world of robotic prosthetics. Why? Because 80% of the world's amputees are living in third world countries, and only 5% of them have access to prosthetics. That leaves 9.6 of the world's 10 million amputees without a limb. How did things get so out of whack? Well, prosthetics have always been very, very expensive, like $50,000 expensive. And that's what Adil is out to change.
You said it was $550 material cost?
Yeah.
For a complete
Prototype
hand?
Yeah, for a complete prototype. Yeah.
Okay. How is the strength laterally on this?
I can literally crunch that thing and it just pops back into place. That material is awesome.
You can't snap it?
You can't snap it. Building and deploying prosthetic devices in developing nations, that's not a one-man thing, right? So when we came down here 2 years ago, Dave Krupp was the one who first put us in contact with Juan Suquillo. It became instantly clear to me that Juan was going to be way more than just a patient. And even though I was there to help change his life, it turned out that he would change mine too. I want to introduce you to my wife, Whitney.
Really good.
This is Zane.
God give us, all human beings, this capacity just to keep on going and innovate our ways to give us hope for a better future.
That thing right there, do you remember before it was like this big with wires coming out of it?
Yeah.
And now it's there, that little tiny chip.
Oh my God. 1981, we had in Latin America a war between Ecuador and Peru. Peruvian helicopters bombarded us, and myself, I was pretty bad injured. I was not prepared to die. I was not prepared to die. Then I asked him, please God, don't take me to hell. And it changes the perspective of my life.
So this is a really brand new method, it's brand new technology for castings. Okay, so for the scan, if you could just hold up your arm and put your thumb up. Once you offer another human being this promise of a better future, that's a whole nother level of responsibility.
Wonderful. I've been waiting for the past 35 years.
This is like an opportunity that Juan could never dream of getting before. And now that we can match that functionality at a much cheaper price point, building the best prosthetics at a cost that he can afford, it's a complete game changer. So this is how the hand is actually learning my muscle patterns from my forearm. So I'm actually training the microcontroller to recognize the muscle signals coming from my arm. So it's doing a pinch and I'm doing a pinch, and so that way the next time I do a pinch, it'll compare it to the training data and see if the hand should actually do a pinch. Oh shoot, it's gonna send gibberish right now, right?
Oh, it thinks it's still driving the motors?
That's fine. Oh shoot.
Oh, you turned it on?
All right, this is not properly getting power.
Is that hot?
Yeah, that's what was the smell. 2.5 years ago, all these consumer 3D printing world was just booming, right? And we were like, why can't we 3D print our own prosthetic hand? Because everyone else is doing it, right? We can do it too.
We're Psionic. We develop advanced, neurally controlled prosthetic hands at 10 times less cost than the state of the art. Let's change the world. One hand at a time. My senior year in high school, I got really interested in engineering and robotics. I actually started looking up projects on the internet, kind of do-it-yourself type things. So I built a robot drawing machine. Started 3D printing, so I built a little flapping wing robot that could fly. And I took it one step further and I made a voice-controlled prosthetic arm.
Piece, pencil, wave.
So Patrick sent me this email saying, hey, I built this 3D printed hand in my garage over the summer of my senior year of high school for fun. Is there anything you can do with it? And we were like, absolutely, there's stuff we can do with it.
We hooked it up to the code that he had been writing for years, and then we got to do some really awesome tests and things right away. All these things, I was a month in college, and he was like, he wanted my opinion, so he really showed me the ropes and got me to learn basically how to produce meaningful work.
Thank you.
The younger visionary has the keys, but the older visionary knows the doors. And then something happens. I love that. So whenever I meet someone who's young and ambitious, I say you gotta go find that person out there who really gets what you're doing. Otherwise you'll spin here and do nothing at all.
I live in a life in a world of things I can't control, where I am a piece in the puzzle, and other people are their piece in the same puzzle. And I believe that they come together into a larger story that is bigger than I am.
Bring people together and figure out what ideas work and what ideas don't work, and then the differences hopefully will allow for tolerance.
I think it's important for you to recognize your role, your knowledge, your information is just a small piece of what's out there.
With 3D printing, you can make this stuff in your garage, you can make it in your home, right? At low cost. Not just 3D printing has allowed for hobbyists to make this stuff, but cost of electronics themselves has just been going down. So we have this machine learning algorithm that can distinguish when someone thinks about doing a pinch versus a 3-finger grasp, and the hand will do the same thing. And it's literally this big, right? It costs 20 bucks. And it's about as powerful as cell phones from about 3 to 4 years ago. And that houses all of our machine learning algorithms and controls all of the motors on our hands. You couldn't fathom of doing this 10 to 15 years ago at all. I found it.
Oh, good. We're gonna do the little one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Because he's a little Mario.
I know he's a little Mario. I feel he hasn't missed a single doctor's appointment, so when it comes to baby, he's been there for every single time, which has been utterly amazing. I don't know that I could say I expected that because of how busy his schedule is, but he makes it work.
All right.
You think he'll survive the piranha plant?
I think so. What do you think right here?
I mean, we know it's risky, and it's a startup, and a lot of startups fail, and it's a reality that we might have to really face, but at the same time, it's kind of a risk worth taking, especially with the potential to help.
He's got to get the extra life.
He's got to get the extra life.
He's got to get
first.
the extra life.
He really could use that mushroom, though.
When he's older. When I was 7 years old, I actually met an amputee for the first time, and I was visiting Pakistan. And it was actually a little girl who was my age. She was missing her right leg, I believe, and she was just hobbling towards me with a broken tree branch, using it as a crutch. And at the time, I had wondered, you know, we share the same ethnic heritage, but we have such vastly different qualities of life. It's kind of turned into my life goal is to build these prosthetics for people who can't afford them around the entire world.
Prosthetic costs you like $7,000. The hook alone costs $1,500, which is insane because the technology, the prosthetic is since World War II, so I don't understand where the money goes for that. So if these guys are actually doing something passionate enough to try to bring the prosthetics to a more affordable district, you know, I'm all about that.
Don't scare me.
So a deal had a boy or a girl, or?
It's gonna be a boy.
Does he already have one, or is this his first?
This is first.
Oh, his life has changed.
Yeah.
Big day for Daddy.
Big day for both of us. It was so exciting. I mean, my heart just melted the moment I first laid eyes on him.
We love him more than I knew was possible. It's just amazing.
And then he'll become a teenager.
Yeah.
It'll be a different story.
Then he'll wish he was back in the womb.
You know, we can build the most advanced prosthetics in the world, but they still don't even hold a candle to this.
Okay.
Hey, Zany, welcome home.
Welcome home, Zane.
So it's about 6 a.m. in the morning. We've got about 2 weeks before, a little less than 2 weeks before we head out to Ecuador, and we don't have the hand even assembled yet. We plan on getting that done this weekend. Luckily, we still have a little bit of time, but that time window is getting shorter and shorter. So Yuna and I are off to begin our journey to Chicago.
Oh, exciting! We got enough sleep? A little bit.
That's how we roll. I'm only on 1 hour right now. We are in.
Where are you?
Jack Cyrus, the homeland of Dave Rotter. Dave also works with the nonprofit organization, the Range of Motion Project. That's who we're working with in Ecuador to get these prosthetics out to people who need them. When we came the first time, he hooked us up with a bunch of electrodes and batteries and power supplies to go down on the trip.
I've invited Adil to come back and basically steal more stuff from me.
Basically, what we want to show with this hand is that we can blindfold Garrett and he'll still be able to grasp an eggshell without looking because we have the sensory feedback and because we have these pressure sensors built into the hand. We're not in freak out mode just yet, so I suppose that's either a good or a bad thing, I don't know. So it's 10 p.m. on Saturday. I'm starting to get a little sick, which doesn't help things. Sunday morning and we're back in the lab. Hopefully we should hit our deadline by tomorrow of getting the whole hand assembled so that we can test with Garrett on Tuesday and go up to Chicago on Wednesday. So it's 2:12 a.m. Wednesday morning. We're still just about to assemble everything into the hand. So we're on our way to Chicken Cyrus, but we're leaving around like 6 a.m. and we have to get there at 7, so we're going to be about an hour late. We just blown one of the voltage regulators right before we left, so the hand doesn't move at all either, so we're going to see if we can fix that while we're there as well.
It's a very old building.
By the end of today, what we hope is that we will have a complete arm system for Garrett. So all the electronics are housed inside the socket that connects to his residual limb with the hand connected to it.
Adil told me, can you design the new hand of this project? And then I start to redesign the whole prosthetic hand during the winter break.
I've got an extra voltage regulator that should work out okay.
I think it will be short.
I know, we'll do something, yes.
Don't pressure her.
Yeah, it's very nervous sometimes, but at the same time, yeah, when I see the fingers moving, I feel really happy.
This print is really nice.
That's PLA too, so that's the same thing as that.
Yeah, this came out really. So is this full saturation?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out really nice. Seems like it's nice and strong.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Yes, I'm happy.
We're actually able to continue and fix all the problems that we needed to fix. And so fortunately, we're at a point now where Dave was able to make the socket to connect the hand to Garrett's residual limb.
I think we're looking for something beautiful. Double A, you ready to cry with joy?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Wow.
It looks phenomenal. It's so incredible to see this like really happening, right? Our hand actually being placed onto the body seamlessly. In the last 3 years that we've been developing this is like the first time we've been able to do this, so it's just a fantastic feeling to see that happen.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I kind of like the design of the arm. Just put some strobe lights in there and stuff is pretty cool. But I think overall, it's really neat, and it hangs really well also. So I like that.
We're kind of in an exciting state right now, I think, just with technology in general. And we're also in the age of community collaboration and open source ideas that are floated around. So that I think what that does, just as a society as a whole, it increases our ability to improve and learn, maybe exponentially, which I think is amazing.
Our goal is not to own all of the ideas. Our goal is to have people use all the ideas.
What used to be just one person trying to promote this idea of empathy and kindness being important to innovation, now that person has millions of people across the world that are saying the same thing.
The new model is, who cares who gets an A? It really matters that we're inspiring each other. It matters that we want to make a difference in the world, and that's how we change the world.
If we're using technology that we don't know how it's made, we don't know what it's actually doing to us. But once you can open source something and you see like, oh, that's what it's doing, you can go and say, oh, take that out, thank you very much. And I'd like to put this in, which I actually want more.
We finally got the hand to work, but in Ecuador, I know there's going to be a lot more battles, and it's going to be intense and sleepless 2 weeks. Our lab is primarily like an engineering lab, where we incorporate neuroscience to like make the sensory feedback and motor control and all these things that weren't possible in hands before, right? However, we still need to be able to get that hand on a person, right?
I tend to believe that life is full of purpose, and that it's usually just the people that you're supposed to meet at a given moment, and you're put in each other's paths, I could say, and that's what happened with the deal. It was a nerd bromance at like first sight, for sure. Like, whoa, what is going on here? We got to figure out a way to do something together.
That's the new hand, right? And this was the first time we even got this thing to work. That is so freaking awesome, man.
So cool.
Yeah, especially with that noise. Do you hear that noise? Like at any point I'm expecting like, Master Luke, how does that feel?
I was gonna go Skynet.
What's so phenomenal about Dave Krupa is that he's an amputee himself.
Yes!
But he's doing these incredible things like climbing mountains and giving hope to people and empowering people with amputations to let them be able to do things that they never thought they would be able to do again.
But what we're doing is we're getting 3D scan, and then we're working with Standard Cyborg. They're a startup. They're in San Francisco, right? and they process the scan and shoot it back to us. So we've got a library now. We're pretty much the organization that's using this right now.
Gotcha.
Even in the States, they just launched it. No one's really using it. Prosthetics are being democratized. It's exciting because we're getting close. We're getting close to something that is going to revolutionize the way that, as a prosthetist, I'm able to treat my patients and the things that I'm able to offer them.
Pinch? Yeah, I mean, it's there. It's really clear too. Are you trying really hard? I don't want you to do any of these really.
Yeah, this isn't 2014.
It was like, and like a little bit. Like, oh, there's a signal there. So I met Juan Suquillo about 2 years ago on my first trip to Ecuador back in 2014. Juan is the imam for Quito, which means he's the spiritual leader of the Muslim community here in Ecuador's biggest city. Seeing Juan at the mosque, suddenly everything seemed to make sense. That by improving his quality of life, it would have a domino effect on the entire Muslim community that was here. So to be able to grow in my faith and advance my science and engineering, it's been a very wonderful opportunity.
That in and of itself was just a miraculous, encounter. I had invited a couple different patients, and the one guy who could really get a hang of the system with that level of stress and strain that was required was this guy, Juan.
I saw the life and death very, very close. It changes the perspective of my life. The logic thing was to try to find a life, a way of life that all the time will remind me, some way, somehow, that there is a God.
What we're going to test here is the stimulation feedback on the prosthetic hand, right? When the hand touches the table, you will actually be able to feel that on your skin. And so no commercial prosthetic device has this type of feedback at all. So we're hoping that this is a good pilot run of this technology. How about when I push this?
Okay, I feel it.
And so I'm going to tap on it rapidly. Do you feel all the different taps I'm making right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to do this. Can you close your eyes for me? And I want you to tell me when I'm actually touching the finger, okay?
Light. Strong.
We haven't gotten the hand to actually work until the day before I flew out here, right? And things have been going pretty well since I got here. Like the individual pieces so far have been working really well. The muscle signals have been working, the pressure sensing, the sensory feedback, that's all been working well. But then coupling all that with the hand and all the power that's required to power each individual component, I'm a bit cautiously optimistic about that. Okay, so I'm gonna update you first on what's happening on my end, okay? I haven't powered up the hand because I'm afraid to power up the hand because of the whole battery drainage issue.
Sure. Do you have power supply?
I have the computer power supply. I may just wait on just any arm or hand actuation until Jesse comes down, just because that battery issue just really, really worries me. 2 of our team members from the lab at U of I are coming down tomorrow, and they're going to be bringing the parts to assemble the left hand for Juan. Jesse Kornman, and Yun Choi. So when they get here, we're going to be hitting the ground running.
Yun, welcome to Rump Dev Central. Okay? Does that work for you?
Yep.
We should connect all the motors to this.
We have to get this done today because if we're going to
We can do this today.
Okay.
I'm gonna open my CAD file and then convert to the 3D printable file and then import to the 3D printer. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Kind of does look like Iron Man.
Yeah, it does.
What color are you gonna do?
Oh, white. PLA, white.
Okay, so it started at 12:10. It's the only way, I think, that any innovation is happening, right? Where you just put yourself out there into this very uncomfortable territory. It's that part of the human spirit that just says, I don't know, this is a crazy idea, but it sounds like a lot of fun.
You bring back home after 35 years.
Yeah.
We we're going to get the hand on Juan, we're going to get all the muscle signals, all the pressure sensing working so that he can go about doing things throughout the day, activities of daily living, while using our prosthetic device and giving us feedback. The hand is assembled, so Ian was able to assemble a hand and Jesse was able to get all the cabling and the powering done. So we're about to turn it on for the first time. Hopefully everything will work beautifully. Doing some final examinations. Okay. Pinky stalled. All right, so we noticed that there was another problem on the board and one of the communication lines wasn't connected to the rest of the board. And so Jesse has soldered on another, what we call a fudge wire. And we're hoping that this might be the problem causing the motors not to run. Open up. And nothing.
It's been kind of grueling. Just go in, find a problem, fix it, find another problem. So far, there have been 12 completely critical issues on this board. Like, if we didn't fix them, the board wouldn't work at all.
All right, looks like we've still got a little bit more troubleshooting, but that's okay, because we can do this.
Did you change it to 750?
I changed it to 750, so.
Come on.
I think it's just a great example of how difficult things really are. They've been working on this for more than 2 years. They've been pulling 3-4 hours of sleep a night, maybe, if that, for the last 5 days in a row. It just seems like at every turn there's another roadblock, there's another bug that needs to be fixed, there's something that needs to be hacked.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey, check it out.
What, the motor's moving?
Well, it got past the initial revision. LED's on.
And nothing. Okay, so there's another bug in the code.
We have like 2 or 3 hours left, so we have to make him move the hand.
We're gonna keep at it.
Yeah, step forward at least.
Maybe this time it might work.
I see a light.
It just went off.
Yeah!
Yes, we got it! Yes!
Alright.
Yeah! Awesome!
Now we're gonna test all the other 6. There were 5 of them.
Whew!
Alright.
Awesome! We finally got this motor to move.
That's enough to
We are on our way to getting this hand built. Awesome.
Bismillah, bismillah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin.
3, 2, 1, power.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Hand open. Relax. Good.
Still come on.
Fist?
Fist.
All right.
Fantastic.
I mean, he's been waiting for like 35 years to moving his hand, and then when I heard it, I almost, I got so much impressed. So,
You know, we can change things. One person can change things. I think more people need to feel that. This is it. We know, we can feel it. Like the inevitability of it, we can just feel it in our bones. You know, every day we get up and there's just another development. And it's because it is right now, like this is the nexus of change where prosthetics of tomorrow are going to change thousands and thousands of people's lives. Finally.
Huele bien.
One of the things that I've really grown to believe over all of my education is that it's really important to be able to put your work into practice. So upon finishing my PhD, the whole goal now shifts from, you know, like writing these research papers and like getting a foot in academia to getting this prosthetic ready to be deployed all over the world to people who need them in a way that we can manufacture it very easily and it's very robust and people can use it for an extended period of time. We're going to be knocking on a ton of prosthetists' doors, like in clinicians, just saying, here's our prosthetic hand. This is the state of the art. This is the best thing out on the market. And not only that, it's cheaper than everything else that's out on the market and should come at no cost to the patient themselves. Will you buy it?
It's often been said, when you're going through hell, keep going. When people call Adil's robotic hand a breakthrough, well, he knows that actually his success is built upon a million tiny little failures and recoveries along the way. So when you decide to chase your big idea, don't forget to put on your thickest skin. Keep your eyes trained on the horizon, and no matter what, keep going. Because that's how you make it work.